Hi, my name is Theodore Cottingham, and this is the day for many of you to be saved from all that you have been taught, all that you have thought about God and you becoming not one again, or will you, the two of you, be one? You, God, in the same body? The body of you is no longer separate. You become the hands and feet, the flesh, the visible God on earth, no longer subject to mankind's law and whim. Are you changing what you are subject to? In my decades of being a Christian, I heard much about submission to God, following God, following the will of God, searching for the will of God for my life, submitting to the will of God. And now I have a school to teach the opposite. I do not develop followers. And the submission that has been cultivated in people of all nations, tribes, and tongues to rob them of their own authority, to rob you of your own authority, so that you would submit to a God figure, an authoritarian, an authority figure that you think has authority over you, where you lay down your authority before them, under them, so that they trample you, will no more be here. Because I am. I am God in flesh that's become one. My flesh is no longer mine, no longer my own. I no longer separate my flesh from God. I become one consciousness. I operate in my authority because I have created my authority, because I learned how to cultivate my authority, because I learned how to listen. And love taught me. And love taught me and teaches me still. I learn every day as I teach. I listen to my recordings. I make notes. There are many linkages where, as I speak and as I subsequently listen to these lessons, that I realize paths of light open up to me. New pathways, neurons, light, energy. Pop, 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 lights going off everywhere like fireworks, you know. Will you dance? Do you dance with God that does not ask you to submit? Can there be, is there, a God that doesn't want your submission? Can there be a God that doesn't want you to follow it? What if all these guys, all these people, all these writers, all these preachers, pastors, priests, imams, and shamans, and leaders throughout the world of all sorts of religions, what if they got it wrong? What if they've been taught submission? So they teach submission. They've been under authority, sometimes by force. They were forced under authority, and then they become authoritarians themselves. Ask the right questions. Ask questions you have never asked before. You have authority to ask. You have authority to inquire. You have authority to know. So many people teach about God's Word, God's Word, God's Word, God's Word, and the words of God. And they're teaching completely that is the words, the text of a book. If you've been around me long, you know better than that. Because you know God is not love. God does not issue a list of commandments. God does not want you to follow it, then jump into a casket so willingly. But you say, wait, what about all the Bible verses and teachings and all this? For centuries? Well, did God create hell? To punish those who would not accept the belief system that someone gives you? I say no. You see, there's more to the story. So all of a sudden, which heart, which God are you talking about? Jekyll or Hyde? God or Satan? You see, there's more to the story. Are you willing to know? You have the authority to know. And if you learn who you really are, if you're willing to learn who you really are, taking the blinders off, taking down the shields that you put up to protect you because you fear. You fear you may get bitten by a lion. There's a lion in the street. You're afraid of the fiery furnace? You're afraid of the lion's den? Afraid to grow up. Are you afraid the Christ story is about you? No. Someone else. Moses. We don't want to speak to God directly. You go for us. You go. You take the heat. You be the responsible party. You. No. When you begin to be willing to know who you are, there's no finger pointing at anybody else or any other book. And it's not pointing at God either. It's not pointing to the sky or the earth. No figurative, metaphorical, or literal heaven or hell. You begin to come into your own authority. But it's not easy because it's a process of growing up. It's a process of maturing. Maturing takes effort. Maturing takes time. There's a progression to learn who you are, to walk in your own authority. And anybody who wants to keep you under their authority now's the time for you to recognize their motive and why they are saying what they say, why they are doing what they do, and uncovering the motive and recognizing it. And no longer submitting, no longer submitting to any authority that takes your identity away from you, that takes your ability away from you, your ability to know, your ability to be, your ability to create freedom in you and those all around you. And if you are around or under people that limit your authority, take your authority from you, limit you, they're not your people. Are they? If they just want to keep you in their corral, their pew, their denomination, their church. So many people want their beliefs to reside in you. They want their words to be alive in you and you be subject to their words. So what is their word? Their word of limitation? When they give you words of limitation that constrict you, restrict you, debase you, demean you, put you in your place. Grow up. See the motive. Feel the energy. So many people I talk with admit or claim to be or whatever, think they're empaths. They're empathic because they feel. You see, there's a sensitive nature, a nature of sensitivity in love. Love is not callous. Love is not brutal. Love is kind. Love is not controlling. Love does not create followers to be under them. Hear me well, you people who are so devoted to your religion, your denomination, your church. That's not love. That's ignorance. And see, when you begin to know who you are, and when you begin to choose to operate in your own authority, when you begin to take the shackles off of your mind and your life, the more you're willing to see, the more you will see. God may want you to bow down before it and worship it. give you a list of commands, do's and don'ts, and say, be good. And when you die, I'll be the judge of where you go. My friend, that may be God, but that is not love. That is not love. Love doesn't operate that way. Love is not waiting to condemn you, waiting to judge you, waiting to hold court, the great white throne judgment. Oh, it's appointed every man, to die and then the judgment. No, my friend. Take the blinders off. You see, so many people want to preach the authority of the word, the authority of the word, the authority of God, the authority of the Bible, the authority of the believer. My friend, grow up. You're not a fool. There's a lot of things that God, what God? Some God? What God made hierarchy? What God created a fivefold ministry, ordained some and didn't ordain others? Told you to be silent? Silent in church? Told you to be under a man's authority. You women? That was not love. That's control. That's control. It's not God. Oh, but God said. Well, got a problem, I guess. Got a dilemma. A dilemma. A problem. We're in a new chapter of the textbook. Now we're facing new problems, new challenges, new information. Are you willing to grow up? Are you willing to see your place in the universe, in the cosmos, in your community? Are you willing to have your own life now instead of living under someone else's authority, someone else's kingship, someone else's rulership, someone else who keeps you in your place, tells you how long your skirt length must be, whether you wear a bun on your head or not? Grow up. I call you to grow up. I call you to create your authority and walk in it, because you are not feeble. And my friends, if you're around me, I pray to you to not be led around with a ring in your nose and a chain to the voice, the authority of man any longer. So I defy your gods, and I'm not trite about it. This is not a trivial matter. This is life and death for millions and more. I didn't seek this job, but I will not run from it. I had to grow into the ability to do this and to say this. How did I grow? How did I grow into being me? How did I grow my ability? I went to school. I went to college. I got a degree. I got an advanced degree. I got an MBA. I got a doctorate. But where I learned to be me. Was at the table of one The table of one. I'm showing you this picture of a fellow sitting at a round table in the sky with an angel, with a celestial being, with Jesus, God. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. You don't have to label it. A being of light, a being of love that communicated with me. Did I see it visually? Once when I was 9, an angel appeared to me. I was terrified. I mean, I was frozen stiff. This being of light, white, all white, some kind of glow. So hard to describe. And I was 9. I'm 73 now. The angel only said a few words to me. Tell others about Jesus. Paused there in midair, then disappeared. I was terrified. I had been simply in the kitchen making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich when that occurred. Not a very spiritual position. I wasn't meditating, wasn't praying. All of a sudden. So yes, once I've seen an apparition, a ghost, a being. I saw love. But for much of my life, I had a major problem. Because we tend to think with the information that we have, with the vocabulary that we have, with the phrases that we have, the nomenclature, the lexicon that we have learned and been around and learned and used. And all of these words and phrases form within us, form pictures, form permissions, form fences. So many words and phrases combine to create fences between people and to limit them or to give them authority. And my friend, you have the authority. I'm letting you know, I'm sharing with you the authority of love, to be loved, to hear love, to see love in your mirror, to feel love in your speech, and begin to grow wings in ways that you never imagined. Whether you see them or not, you begin to feel a process of expansion, a process of freedom. And very slow at first, maybe. Maybe you just take little baby steps, a thought, a little tiny thought, a baby thought, a thought. Maybe. Maybe I'm not under the authority of a man. Maybe God doesn't care if I eat apple pie or blueberry pie. What if God doesn't care about all these, whether I wear a blue shirt or a gray skirt? What if I'm a man and I want to wear lipstick and earrings? Do you think God cares? But wait a minute, all of a sudden we're back to this issue of which God? Wait a minute, but you think there's only one. So we have this dilemma. Which one are we looking at? Jekyll or Hyde? God or Satan? Or of course, we use the word God, and so all this conflict develops. I will never leave you or forsake you. And yet, a hell exists for not just punishment. Punishment? Punishment? Because I wore the wrong skirt? I danced on the top of the bar naked? Eternal damnation, eternal flames, eternal pain and sorrow. That's not love. You have authority, my friend, that no one on earth can take from you, because it comes from within. For you to learn to be the real you, I suggest you begin to submit only to love. You begin to surrender to love. You begin to surrender. And you begin to grow. Love heals. Love does not hurt. Love the love that I know, the love that I teach, the love that I preach, does not create followers and doesn't want you to follow. People that preach follow Jesus, follow Jesus, follow Jesus, and then tell you how to follow Jesus. Oh, be in church Sunday. Oh, by the way, here's the plate. Fill it up. Tithe. That's following Jesus? Oh, I bought into it, hook, line, and sinker for decades. How did I come out? How do I know what I know? Why do I teach what I teach? I met love at the table of one, where I went day after day with a yellow tablet and a pen, and I sat. But it was all incremental. There's a progression to learn who you are. There's a progression to mature. There's a progression to walk in your own authority. There's no vicarious atonement, folks. All of us are one, and we bear our own responsibility for us. No one can answer for us because we are our own authority, and our authority exists in us, lives in us, and is inextricable to the majesty of the true love that we really are, whether you imagine that it looks like this or not. You're not limited to what you look like in your mirror. And your value is not determined by what you look like in your mirror. And I invite you to let your self-image no longer conquer you. Self-image so often is created by combinations of what? DNA, how we were treated, our experiences, our education. And we get all these things intertwined and mixed up. What our worth is and who we are and how we create value, how we're worth anybody. And almost all of it is tied to the soul nature, the soul, the chakra system, the soul. Feelings, emotions, feelings. I invite you to rise above it. The soul will control you, demand all of your attention, and create hell in your life on a continual basis if you let it. Hell is not a separate place. Hell is separation from the real you. The real you, your spirit, your ghost, your energy, your energetic being, your energetic body, the infinite, immortal, eternal you. You are the creator of you. But now we are learning we have the authority to create because we're creators. I am no longer made by God that wants me to serve it. I change where I came from. Metaphorically, realistically, however you want to take this. You see, was I spoken into existence? Really? Pardon me. Were we spoken into existence? Were we created? Were we created to serve? I don't think so. This is not about evolution. This is about creation, with you being the creator, with you creating you, no longer crying, no longer following, but wiping the tears from your eyes, letting go of your teddy bear, letting go of your security blanket, letting go of your Bible. Do you think God is dependent on that book? Any book? Any holy book? Grow up. The heart of love is to teach love directly, to be love. And if there was a creation, if God existed and created me, I suggest there's no capability, no capacity that existed in my Creator that was not imparted to be an innate, inherent in me. I am God. I haven't known it most of my life. And I'm still learning it. And I'm still learning what it means. I'm still eradicating the artifacts of all of the words that have kept me limited to my place, to this space, to this earth. But we are the light of the world. We are the energy of heaven. We are the essence of the cosmos. And the majesty and beauty of every one of us is now coming forth and won't be stymied anymore. Because the seed of the word is no more eaten by the seed eaters, no more taken and used for another's energy. My friend, you are the creator of the cosmos. All consciousness is inside of you. All the consciousness of love, pure love, the palace of light, nirvana, heaven. Your label for it won't defeat it, just like your label for God won't defeat love, if you want to love love. But if you want to love God of a certain design, you image that design within you, and you think that's what God is. You think you're created by something. You think you're limited, so you walk in those limits because you have the power and authority to operate in your life because you are the creator of it. So if you think you are a creation of something else that wants you to do something else, that expects you to do something else, that's going to punish you forever, you see the carrot and stick. You see the dilemma of the Jekyll and Hyde. God and Satan. Is God and Satan the same being? Does it just depend on how you look at it? No, there's more to the story. There have been many iterations of creation. My purpose is not to explain all of that at this moment. I have addressed that multiple times. I'm addressing authority. I'm addressing authority because as a people, we have been so suppressed. Robbed from our joy. Valued for our ability to create only by employers, only by people who want to make money from our labor, our mind. I'm asking you to envision a larger reality. One where you are no longer a spoke in someone else's wheel. I have a school. When I began to channel the first person words of God, of course, that's the terminology I used for most of my life. Now I continue to differentiate it more and more. First person words would come to me as I surrendered to sit with my yellow tablet and pen. For years, I went an hour a day to a chapel near my home. And that's where I began to write sometimes sentences, phrases. And in various lessons, I've shared about this process. But I realized at one point, I thought I've got to decide what I believe for myself. No longer what all these preachers say, not what the pastor says, not what my mom and dad taught me. I have to decide. Because at that time, you see, I had the image, the idea. Or does the image come from the idea? Or does the idea come from the image that somebody else gave me with their ideas and their words, fashioning an image that one day I would stand before God, the divine supreme master, the judge. But there's one aspect that seemed to be real to me. When I stood there, I would not be holding a Bible. I would not be holding any book. It would not be a time for my defense. All the words were already spoken. My life was lived, supposedly, and I was standing there. And it was something I knew. I thought at that time, when I stand there, I'll be naked. I won't have on a shirt. I won't have on any pants. I won't have on a lipstick. I won't wear a bun. Will I have any hair? Will I have any flesh? Or will I be standing there with my naked motive? Energy, authority, essence. And I couldn't point. There was no blame. No pointing the finger. Just me. So I had that image, that picture, a long time. But I had to decide what I believed. Because of that, I had to grow up, and I was choosing to grow up. So in going to early morning prayer an hour a day, every day for years, as I did, was my custom for some years, I thought, I've got to decide what I believe. Do I believe in God? I would hear so much about the house of God, the house of God, the house of God. Come to the house of God. Be here next Sunday, the house of God. The house of God needs your help. Come. Sweep the floor, dust the pew, mow the grass. That's serving God, because this is God's house. No, my friend. God does not want you to serve God. Oh, God may, but love doesn't. So you have to decide. And this is the crisis, a cataclysmic crisis in Christianity. We have been tormented with ambiguity, with misinformation, misinterpretation, and the delight of people to control us and regurgitate and vomit all over us as we sat in the pew. Twice eaten words regenerated through eons in patterns of energy that destroy our creativity, limit our authority, and create a race of servants, followers, beggars. We're the initiators. Over and over I'd read, I look for a man to stand in the gap. Over and over and over. I thought, I'll stand in the gap. I didn't ask for it, but I'm willing. I didn't know what it meant. Maybe I still don't. I'm a simple guy in Eureka Springs. And who am I to talk like this? I'm one me. I have become me. I have learned through the process of Meonics. Meonics is a system of education that has been given me through the first person words of love over 21 years as I have progressed to learn to let go of so many things that I held on to that limited me. Anything that limits your voice, your creativity, your ability to develop, advance, and mature. I invite you to begin to create your way out of. And there's a way to do it with wisdom, not the knee-jerk. Knee-jerk reactions don't often happen like you expect. They so often create unintended consequences. Many times in my quest, I've created problems, stubbed my toe, stood in pools of my own blood, at times, as it were. But there is a wisdom. There is a way. I appreciate my education. I'm thankful I could go to school. I'm thankful that I was able to get the degrees that I have. And I don't diminish their value. Yet I suggest to you, there is a learning system superior. And whether you have a high school diploma or not, whether you can read and write or not, you can begin to learn from love. And love will communicate. And I begin to mention, I was saying, I did decide what I believe. So in a nutshell, through a process of months, agonizing process, I wanted to get it down to the very core of what I believed, the fewest amount of words and items. I didn't want to write a doctrine. I just wanted to, what do I believe? 1, 2, 3. 1, I believe God exists. 2, I believe whatever God is, wherever God is, God communicates. And 3, I decided, if I'm not hearing God, it's not God's fault. I never got to number 4 because everything began to go into my quest. If I'm not hearing God, it's not God's fault. So I began to change how I prayed, how I began to talk with God, how I began to acknowledge God, how I began to beg God to teach me, correct me. And another whole story about how I finally began to beg God to judge me. I didn't want to go through life wearing gray pants if God liked red ones. You see how trite, maybe they're poor examples. But in the simplicity of a child, I chose to mature. To mature is costly. Because when we're little, it sure is nice to ride a tricycle. It's nice to have 3 wheels. Oh my gosh. Now you're bringing me a bicycle with only 2 wheels? I got to learn how to balance? You can hear for yourself. And this is what Meonics is about. This is what my school is about. This is what I am about. My life is about. My call, my request, my invitation to you this day. It's about you beginning to grow up and go beyond me. Enjoy my teachings, value them, study them, transcribe them, whatever you have to do. Don't listen to your gut. Listen to love. And begin to differentiate law from love. The God of law versus the God of love. This is not about New Testament, Old Testament. This is not about Christ, certainly not the way Christianity teaches it. This is not about somebody else having done anything for you. This is about you doing it yourself. There's no vicarious atonement. Love never wanted any blood sacrifice and still doesn't to this day. Never did, never will. There's no shedding of blood in love. You begin to choose. You choose this day. You choose how you are receiving these words and what you do with them. I hope they are meaningful to you so that you begin to ask questions. And don't fear asking the questions. Don't fear beginning to grow. Don't fear beginning to assert your authority, to walk in your privilege, to be the real you. And let no one control this thing between your ears. No one. Let no one control your mind. You are responsible for your mind. You are the creation of you, and you are creating it. And that's why I say all the time, love you first. Because love has taught me this. You see, religion teaches compassion and compels you to go do. I'm compelling you to be the real you and learn love from the inside out. And never expect love from outside of you to fill your void. No flesh will fill your void. No flesh will be the ideal. There's no perfect relationship on earth with flesh. But there's more to you than flesh. Underneath that flesh is the real you. The body eternal. Your body infinite. Infinite. Your body immortal. Infinite. Omnipotent. You mean I'm no longer isolated to what I think I see in the mirror? No. You are connected to the collective. The collective what? The collective mind? The universal mind? We suffer with language and the nuances of definitions, the pictures they create, the chains that they may put around us. But we also have the power in our own words to break the chains of thinking where hell exists, where hell destroys our peace and words from other people infect us like a virus. This is my message, and I love you. Grow your garden. Love you. Be tender. Be tender with everybody. You first. Your inner voice, your self-talk. Let not your mind rule you. Let not your chakras, your soul, guide you. There's all kind of soul guides, soul voices, voices that are available if you're willing to listen. A lot of people look for the nearest fool. They look for the gullible. They look for the naive. They look for the defenseless. They look for the ignorant to devour them. Eat on their flesh. Devour their bank accounts. Abscond with their power. This world is changing dramatically, and it's time to connect. It is time to go past the pew, past the altar rail, beyond the book. Outside of your home, into the world, into the cosmos. The message of Jesus, the kingdom of heaven, is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Maybe it was the kingdom of heaven is in your hand. I don't think I've ever said that before. The kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not in your blood pumping muscle. Where is it? It's in your consciousness. What are you conscious of? Are you becoming more and more conscious that you are the creator? And you choose what you create to create you as. You are creating you to no longer be limited by flesh. If you're around me very often, hear my words. Create the power within you, the power of love, and love you first with it. If you have questions, write me. You can comment on the video. You can write me. My email address is Theodore Eureka. All run together. TheodoreEureka@gmail.com. My website. I invite you to go to my website. It's my name. I call it first the University of the New Covenant. I call it the University of Light. I call it the School of God, the School of Christ, the School of the 21st Century Christ. I've called it all sorts of things over the years. Now I just call it my name, Theodore Cottingham School of Leadership, because I am placing a huge amount of emphasis on no longer being submitted to be a follower. And all that garbage about servantship, servanthood, servantship, followership, servant. Be a servant of God, a servant of God. No, time to grow up and begin to lead. Begin to lead with your pen, your pencil, your mouth. As you begin to write, begin to learn to channel And be not afraid of a stray word. I've written thousands of documents, and I have a school. I have a school because what I've channeled asked me to begin this school. I have begun this school. It's not like any other school. And all those words, all those messages that call for the creation of the school and talk about how it operates and literally has a curriculum given me that I channeled and how it works to connect the different lessons, how to look up, use the lookup function and search this database. You can search it online. You can find the link on my website. Go to the menu, Theodore's Covenant. You can look it up. You can search for words and phrases. And you can see, you can begin to piece together how the school works if you want to. You can begin to grow into it. You can be a part of the school by helping create it. You can be in it. You can be a student. But if you're a student, you become a teacher. If you're in this school, you may create a school because you create courses in every course to become equal, not underlings, not followers. You begin to lead. You begin to write. And you don't fear someone laughing at you. Because even if they do, as you begin to grow, laughter, comments, and derision affect you less and less and less. It's not that you're growing more calloused, it's that you're maturing in love. And all of those magnetic things, all of those magnets, those magnetic algorithms that want to stick to you and disturb your chakras, your alignment, your aura, your soul, disturb your soul, give you an achy, breaky heart, will no more tear you apart. Ah, gosh, I've already been speaking an hour. I love you. You can write me. You can love me. Love me by loving you first. Look in your mirror. And every time you see that face in your mirror, say, I love you. Hear your own energy proclaim your love for the real you. The you that is no longer in torment because of the energy of somebody else. Grow your love and let your love grow you into the cosmos, out of affliction, and be the healer, the lover of you first. Begin today. Begin as you are. Love me in every person you see. Love the one you are. Let us be still no more. Let us act. You have my address. You have my name. Communicate if you like. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this time. Thank you for no longer diminishing your life or suppressing your authority, but planting words in your garden that let your love bloom and flow. I love you. Good day. Thank you. Write me. Send me questions. I may answer them. I may speak to them on when I teach tomorrow. I love you. Engage. Empower. Engage. Empower. Release you. grow in your authority now to be the real you. Thank you. Good day.